Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. This program is suitable for general viewing.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Horizon TV. My name is Nadia Osman and my sign language interpreter today is Mr. Burahab. Now this is the Muslim Inside, the show that brings you your weekly news recap as well as the review of today's Friday Bulletin. But before we get into that, first let's give you the headlines.
In the entire region, 14 people have lost their lives, and this is particularly caused through drowning.
Death and destruction. 14 dead and thousands displaced in northeastern region as rains continue to wreak havoc.
We at Jamia Mosque Nairobi would like to welcome you all for our upcoming event that will be tomorrow, inshallah, the 11th of November.
Jamia Open Day. Jamia Mosque Nairobi opens its doors tomorrow for its 6th open day.
If the home is harsh, then the children maybe are looking for peace. And it's unfortunate that they're looking for peace outside from what is considered as their safe space.
Safety first. On this week's feature, we focus on ways to ensure the safety of our children during the long holiday.
Now we begin today's story on a sad note. In a devastating turn of events, tragedy strikes as flash floods wreak havoc in the northeastern region, claiming the lives of 14 people and displacing thousands. The government and Red Cross are working tirelessly to provide relief to those affected. The death toll due to the flash floods in the northeastern region has risen to 14. Residents are being urged to stay away from flooded areas as the rains continue to pound the region.
The ongoing rains have really caused a lot of damage in terms of property and loss of life. In the entire region, 14 people have lost their lives, and this is particularly caused through drowning. So I'm cautioning the members of the public to avoid waterlogged areas. We have about 30,000 people, over 30,000 people displaced by the floods, both in Garissa, Wajir, and Mandera. It is my advice to motorists using the Garissa-Modogashe road to, for the time being, avoid the road because the road is heavily flooded, and members of the public are also encouraged to avoid crossing rivers and trying to cross flooded sections of the road.
Nilikuwa naenda Wajir, tunaona barabara, mvua imenyesha, barabara imeharibika, gari ipitiki, na tumehangaika, tuko na watoto.
Now we continue where more than 2,000 families have been affected by Sunday's floods in Tana River County. Red Cross coordinator Gerald Bombe said many households in Bakuyu, Ziwani and Mororo villages in Buru constituency were affected. Families that were rescued to the campsite are now facing food and clean water shortage, most of them claiming not to have eaten for almost 3 days.
Mimi ndio wa kwanza nimeingia kwa maji, nyumba yangu imebomoka. Na katika kuhama jana, mzee wangu na watoto ndio walichukuliwa na maji.
The 300 household survivors claim they have not had anything to eat for 3 days since they pitched camp.
Chakula ndio kitu inadhiri kabisa hapa. Hakuna chochote. Watu hapa kwa shida kabisa tangu juzi. Hajakula. Hata maji hakuna. Mnajua hii mji uko hapa, hakuna boli iko hapa. Ni maji ile ya kubahatisha. According to Miss Bashir, families in the camp saved nothing from the floods and they only arrived empty-handed.
Mimi kwanza ni kilio wangu ni kwa mama na watoto. Wa mama na watoto wanateseka sana. Jana tumelala kwa mvua imetuishia kwa mwili yetu. Usiku hatuna mahali kulala, tumeomba kwa majirani tukapeleka tukahifadhi watoto. Watoto wako kwa shida sana. Baridi, hatuna manyumba. Tunaomba watu wa Red Cross wamesema tuletea hema. Tunaomba watufanyie bidii watuharakishie hiyo mahema itufikie. Kwa sababu saa hii tuko nje na mvua itanyesha wakati wote.
Bakari Ali, another survivor, notes that most breadwinners have been forced out of their hustles as they are now forced to ensure the safety of their families. He decries support from the county administrations, urging them to support the survivors with at least a food to keep them going.
Shida ni kwamba sisi watu wengi wanafanya kazi Garissa town. Sasa kutoka huku mahali tunahamishwa na kwenda huko transport we can't do. Hatuwezi hiyo transport, ndio maana tumekaa karibu na Garissa ili tupate support ya kutembea hapa na pale, tuangalie chakula tutapata nini, watoto watasoma vipi. Hata hapa mahali ambao tumeletwa saa hii, kuna laga hapa imeua jana mtoto. Wengine wameseviwa jana, hakuna boti, wameseviwa na mikono. Sasa sisi tufanyaje? Mahali tumeletwa hata mashule hayatusaidii saa hii. Manake tumezoea kuhama shule. Saa hii tumehamishwa mahali ingine tofauti. Very dry. Hakuna miti wala nini, ni jua tu. Kwa hiyo mtusaidie tafadhali, tunalia.
County Department Special Programs Project Coordinator Sokorote Lulutia said that the administration has acquired non-food items that will be distributed by the end of the week. Nevertheless, he has appealed to residents still in lowland areas to move to the campsite and other higher grounds for safety.
Nilikuwa bado naomba watu wa sehemu za huku Mororo, Bakuyu, Sala nzima wazidi kuzingatia hili swala la kwamba watu wahame kutoka kule waliko waje sehemu za juu. Manake hii mvua kama tulivyoelezea pale awali ni kwamba hii mvua ni kubwa na athari zake huenda zikawa kubwa zaidi ya vile watu walikuwa wanatarajia. So wacha tungangane, na sisi kama lead team ya serikali yote tunajaribu kushirikiana na washikadau wote ya kwamba hili janga at least tuweze kulimanage na tutaweza tukiwa pamoja.
According to the county Red Cross coordinator Gerald Bombe, more than 1,000 households have been affected in the Bura constituencies, areas of Bakuyu, Ziwani and Mororo villages. While 1,170 families cases have been registered, more than 300 heads of livestock have since been lost, with several schools flooded with water.
Tumesha record jamii families 300 kutoka jana mpaka saa hii. Saa hii tunagawanya vitu za families 100. Wale wengine ambao watatoka polepole tutawaletea pia vitu at least hiyo 300 tukamilishe. Saa hii wamehama pale Bula Baraka na tunatarajia watakaa vizuri. Hali ya usalama tuko na machief tuko na watu wa admin, tuko na watu wa special programs pia wamepita huko. Kwa hivyo hali yao ya salama itaangaliwa. Pia mambo ya sanitation, mambo ya maji, mambo ya vyoo, watu wa public health walikuwa pale, waliangalia hayo mambo yote ili tuweze kusaidika.
Mr. Bombe also notes that the situation in Tana Delta may be worse as rescue operations are underway in village surrounded by water. Saida Aboud Bilail reporting for The Muslim Insight.
Thank you for that report, Saida. Now, on Monday, Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki gazetted 13th November 2023 as a public holiday for national tree growing as the country races to achieve the growing 15 billion trees by 2023. In a statement released on Tuesday. Now, in a statement released on Tuesday, Environment Cabinet Secretary Soipantu announced that the national tree planting event will run concurrently with county tree growing exercises across the 47 counties presided over by cabinet secretaries. Tuya added that each cabinet secretary will oversee the exercise in at least 2 counties. Tree growing activities will, however, continue across the country, extending to sub-counties and down to locations and sub-locations under the coordination of the National Government Administration Offices and sub-county environment committees.
The national tree growing exercise will then concurrently run in all the 47 counties, presided over by cabinet secretaries. And as you know, we had on Friday cabinet approve and direct that each cabinet secretary will be taking at least 2 counties where they will take leadership, not just for the 13th, but going forward in terms of providing the coordinatory leadership in partnership with the county governors, and we are in talk with the Council of Governors. We are in talks with the members of parliament and members of county assemblies, the National Government Administration. So at the county level, we will have the leadership of CS, the governors, and the National Government Administration, where we will have a focal point for all the players, including the private sector and all government agencies that are within counties. The Kenya Forest Service, the NEMA, and KEFRI will also be very central at the county level to provide the technical support required for this county level coordination. I am sure that one of the things we will achieve on Monday is our numbers will go up in terms of the trees grown under our Jazamiti application, but also the ownership that Kenyans need to take for the tree growing initiative. We have the long rains which will come next year. I am hoping that we can also secure a day where we can again push for this, and within no time we will have hit our target in terms of the ambition that we have for 15 billion trees. And
thank you for that. Now, Jamia Mosque in Nairobi will open its doors on Saturday, the 11th of November, to promote a better understanding of Islam. The event will be open to people of all faiths and include a tour of the mosque, question and answer sessions, and an opportunity to watch live Muslim prayers. Over 700 people attended the last open day, which saw nearly 30 people revert to Islam.
We at Jamia Mosque Nairobi would like to welcome you all for our upcoming event that will be tomorrow, inshallah, the 11th of November, starting from 9 a.m. all the way until 4 p.m. The purpose of this event is to give an opportunity to the non-Muslims or people of other faiths to get a chance to come and look at the mosque, have a tour around the mosque, and also whatever questions that you may be having, it will be responded to by the right sources. This is going to be our 6th event, which for this year, we're doing it for the 2nd time due to the demand. Like I said again, we extend our invitation to all of you, respected viewers. For the Muslims, kindly reach out to your colleagues, to your friends, to your neighbors, inform them about this event, and we'll be glad to have you all visiting our mosque. whereby there'll be refreshments being served. There shall be also reading materials. Whoever who will seek to or may be seeking more information, then this is the time for you to come to Jamia Mosque Nairobi. Welcome you all to our open day tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Our doors are going to be wide open for all of you.
We're looking forward to tomorrow. Now, moving on, the Gulf African Bank has signed a Sharia-compliant credit risk guarantee partnership with African Guarantee Fund to enable the bank small and medium enterprises access financing to support their growth. This is the first Sharia-compliant credit risk guarantee in sub-Saharan Africa, which marks a critical milestone for both institutions, according to the National Economic Survey report by the Central Bank of Kenya, which indicates that SMEs constitute over 90% of all business in Kenya and create over 30% of jobs annually.
Speaking during the partnership signing ceremony at the African Guarantee Fund, Gulf African Bank Managing Director Anuj Medirata said the partnership with African Guarantee Fund will enable small and medium enterprises to have access to credit from Sharia-compliant banks.
This partnership will enable SMEs and MSMEs and women in business that could not previously access financing due to inadequate collateral and absence of Sharia-compliant collateralization agreements, a chance to access financing from the bank. So we believe this will open up many other avenues that will lift the economy. Through this partnership, we are going to finance more SMEs, thereby allowing them to play their role in driving Kenya's economic growth. As we all know, SMEs and women are the backbone of this economy. So we want to partner to grow that sector. This will include scaling up to women-owned enterprises and sustainable or green businesses that are involved in renewable energy, those that produce eco-friendly products and services or offer green services.
The partnership will see the credit risk guarantee collateral cover enable access to financing facilities by small and medium enterprises that lack suitable collateral.
We combine finance and development. So meaning it's finance to serve people, to serve community. It's not finance just to make money, but to make sure that we are serving the community. And that's why for us today, to be able to launch this very first product in Islamic finance is a one of its kind. Because here we are combining finance and moral practices. Moral practices that kind of derive from the Islamic law.
So we welcome you, I think, to our ecosystem of, Financial Inclusion Alliance, our ecosystem where we work with enabling partners on the ground, and also our ecosystem of partner financial institutions across the continent.
The move will help expand the small and medium enterprises space in Kenya to ensure that more employment opportunities are created and livelihoods are positively impacted. Reporting for Muslim Insight, I'm Lena Musa.
And we also have...
Thank you for that. Now, on our next story focuses on the safety of our children during the school holidays. With schools closed, there is a growing concern over the increasing rate of children getting lost and a disturbing rise in suicidal cases among the youth. Now, Musa brings us more on this.
As the school gates close for the long holiday, children are out and about, enjoying their freedom. But this newfound freedom also comes with potential risks.
If we look at factors, maybe starting from home, maybe the homes are harsh. So if the home is harsh, then the children maybe are looking for peace. And it's unfortunate that they're looking for peace outside from what is considered as their safe space. So if they're looking for safe space outside, then it makes them run from home because home is hostile. Maybe the parents are harsh.
We want to understand, is the home environment safe enough for them to thrive? Majority of the times you find children who run away from home, their calamities back at home, could be domestic violence, could be maybe parental abuse, probably a child will be neglected, or even socioeconomic factors such as poverty, especially in these tough economic times. Yeah.
According to Elizabeth Bora, a resident of Nairobi, say there is a surge in cases of children getting lost during this long holiday. Parents and guardians are urged to remain vigilant, especially when their children are out playing with their friends or exploring the neighborhood.
Maybe maisha ikiwa ngumu, mtoto labda anaona hakuna mali, mama hana do, dada hana do, so the only option I have to do is kill myself, and that's not the solution. Like, we have to talk to our children, even though things are hard right now, there's still a future. Kuna future.
Speaking to the Muslim Insight, Peter Nyakundi say that the harsh economic status is sparking the suicidal thoughts in children. Hence, maintaining a daily routine and ensuring children engage in physical activities and social interactions can significantly reduce the risk of depression and suicidal thoughts.
Possibly I can say it is because of lack of proper parental care and the economy which is doing very bad as now, and I think this one needs to be taken into account by the government of the day, which I think is far from the common mwananchi. It's not resonating well from the ground.
Isolation, lack of routine and reduced access to support systems can contribute to an increase in suicidal cases among the young individuals.
Leaving kids to do things unattended to ama unmanaged, hiyo ndio inaleta shida, because now kids are curious. Watataka kujua kufanya vitu yenye pengine kwa TV na nini. So hii yote lazima ifanyike kama iko governed, because hata akienda hizi classes anaweza hepa, si ndio? Asema ameenda shule na kumbe ameenda kukutana na mtu.
Shalin Masharia, a clinical psychologist, urges parents and the community to be cautious while handling adolescents, more so while dealing with their emotions.
It is very, very important for parents to be empathetic towards their children. Many of the times you find maybe a child is acting in a rebellious manner, or they are termed as kichwangumu in quotes, yeah? Probably they are trying to communicate something. That child could be going through something that nobody has an idea about. It is very important for parents to come, instead of bashing that child and holding them down, yeah? It is important for them to have a conversation, communicate effectively with the child and say, okay, what is the matter? What is bothering you? And if they are maybe misbehaving or doing something that is not appropriate, it is important for the parent to discuss the implications of what the child is doing.
Reporting for Muslim Insight, my name is Mariam Lanji.
Well, thank you so much, Mariam. That brings us to the end of our fast part of the show. We're going to go on a short break, but we're coming back with a review of today's Friday Bulletin.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Kuna faida gani twapata tukimjua Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
nabii mwenye ushawishi mkubwa duniani?
Tukizikwa tukitiwa kaburini, tutaulizwa haya maswali matatu: man rabbuk, ma dinuk, man nabiyuk.
Sheikh Jamaluddin anakupa simulizi.
Huwezi kumpenda mtu usiyemjua
na kutambua sunna zake,
lakini ukimjua na ukimtambua Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mapenzi yako yatazidi.
Ufahamu Rasulullah, familia na maswahaba wake. Tazama sira ya Mtume kila Jumatatu saa 1 jioni kwenye Horizon TV. Verse of the day.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذين إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما. والذين لا يدعون مع الله إلها آخر ولا يقتلون النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ولا يزنون ومن يفعل ذلك يلقى أثاما.
Uislamu ni dini yenye mpangilio ulio kamili na taratibu zake humpa fursa kila mja kuifahamu na kuelewa.
Muislamu yoyote lazima achukue jukumu la kuifahamu dini yake, kuanzia kwenye shahada, ashhadu, nakiri kwa moyo, kisha usafi wa kimwili. Hapo ndipo huanza safari ya kumwabudu Mola wake.
Usikose kujiunga nasi kila siku ya Jumamosi live kwenye kipindi Ufahamu Uislamu, ili ujifunze mengi usiyojua kutoka Horizon TV.
Pearls of Wisdom.
Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, may Allah be pleased with him, narrated that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, O Allah, I take refuge in you from anxiety and sorrow, weakness and laziness, miserliness and cowardice, the burden of debts, and from being overpowered by men.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا نودي للصلاة من يوم الجمعة فاسعوا إلى ذكر الله وذروا البيع ذلكم خير لكم إن كنتم تعلمون.
Enyi mlioamini, munapoitwa kuhudhuria swala ya Ijumaa, fanyeni haraka kuikimbilia, muache biashara zenu, hilo ni bora ikiwa mwelewa.
Isikilizeni kwa umakinifu khutba ya Ijumaa
ili uzidi kujenga imani yako na kupata faida nyingi ya siku hii.
Coming to you every Friday from Jamia Mosque, Nairobi.
Live on Horizon TV.
قال تعالى في محكم تنزيله بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Ninasaha kutoka pwani.
هذا الدين قال الله قال الرسول قال الصحابة هم أولو العرفان. انتهى.
Ili kuongoza kwenye njia iliyonyoka.
Sikizeni hadithi hii ya Mtume alayhi salatu wasalam. Hakuna atakayeweza kumfungia mtu mlango ambaye Mwenyezi Mungu aliyemfungulia.
Kuimarisha imani yako.
Thabbit qulubana ala dinik wa ala ta'atik.
Ungana na mashekh wetu kutoka pwani kwenye mimbar.
Mimbar zinamwakilisha Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Ni Jumamosi na wakati saa 3 usiku katika Horizon TV, runinga uipendayo.
Quote of the day. Uthman bin Affan radiyallahu anhu said, "Do not quarrel and do not create differences among yourselves. Hold fast to the rope of Allah and maintain unity in your ranks."
La kutafakari.
Ni haramu kumwoa mwanamke ambaye ni mushrika, ni haramu. Kadhalika ni haramu kumwozesha binti yako Muislamu mwanamume ambaye ni mushrik. Na leo suala hili watu wanalifanyia tasahul. Utamkuta Muislamu au binti wa Kiislamu ameolewa na baniani, au ameolewa na Myahudi, au ameolewa na Mnasara kwa sababu ya masalih dunyawia, na wengine huolewa na Mashia.
La kutafakari. La kutafakari.
Ushaionea ladha ya ile imani ulionayo, ama ni kudai tu kwamba mimi ni Muislamu? Vipi wewe ni Muislamu? Angalia jina langu, mimi ni Muislamu. Angalia mimi naingia msikitini kuswali na Waislamu. Angalia mimi nafanya kadhaa na kadhaa. Sio hiyo mizani ya ladhatul iman. Sasa mizani ametokea Mtume sallallahu alaihi wasallam ya kwanza, an yakuna Allahu wa rasuluhu ahabba ilayhi mimma siwahuma, ni kwamba awe Allah jalla jalalu na mtume wake sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hawa wawili ndio unaowapenda zaidi kuliko kitu chengine chochote.
La kutafakari. La kutafakari.
Allah tabaraka wa taala atuambia katika hii hadithi al-Quds, ewe mwanadamu, lau umekutana nami biqurabi al-ardhi, ay ma yuqaribu al-ard, na madhambi ambayo yanaulinganishwa na udongo wa ardhini. Biqurabi al-ardhi khataya, si madhambi madogo haya, madhambi mengi. Kisha ukawa haukunishirikisha mimi na chochote, laqituka biqurabiha maghfira, niko tayari kukusamehe wewe yale madhambi yako yale, nitayageuza yatakuwa ni msamaha. Lakini kinyume chake nini? Lau umefanya amali nyingi kisha ukamshirikisha Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah hazitaki.
La kutafakari. La kutafakari.
Musiwaozesheni binti zenu wanaume ambao ni washirikina, hata akawa na pesa kama nini. Maana haya ndio watu ambao wanaangamia kwa ajili hayo. Wanaangalia senti zitakupeleka wapi? Utakufa, utaziacha hapa hapa hizo senti zako hizo. Wa tudayyi hayataka wa tudayyi dinak wa tudayyi iyalak kwa umurun tafiha, kwa mambo ambayo ya kipuzi. Wala tankihu almushrikina hatta yu'minu wala 'abdun mu'minun khairun min mushrik. Ukachukua binti yako ukamwozesha kijana ambaye mjakazi ni mtumwa, lakini maadama yu'minu billahi azza wa jalla, ni bora kuliko mtu ambaye ni mushriki.
La kutafakari. Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you so much for staying with us here on Horizon TV. And we're back with a review of today's Friday Bulletin. Joining me in studio is none other than Mr. Musa Mwale. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you?
I'm okay, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So we're looking at the front page of today's Friday Bulletin, and because of time, there's a specific topic that I love us to take the whole part of the show discussing. But the first one is the comments by our former Prime Minister, Raila Odinga, where he has denounced Israeli assaults on Gaza, which is in the contrary to what our president had earlier said.
Yeah, thank you. Every right-thinking human being should condemn what is happening in Gaza, and it's unfortunate that our president made a statement that was not well informed, and he's not come out to say contrary to that, which means that is his position. But that's not the, I'm sure that's not the Kenyan position as a government. But him as a leader, he has made his pronouncement, which is within his democratic right. But any right-thinking human being, just like the former Prime Minister has done, should actually denounce and condemn Israel for its brutality on the innocent people of Gaza. Now.
And that's what we've been seeing. It's been nearly 30 days of, heavy bombardment from the Israeli forces, and it's quite sad, because what we're seeing is there's not been a ceasefire that's been announced. What they are saying is there'll be little pauses. What does this say about the rule of law?
When it comes to Israel, they don't respect any. There's nothing like the rule of law. They are an apartheid state. They are a terrorist affirmation. And unfortunately, they're being supported by the great powers of the US and Britain. It's actually unfortunate that some Muslim leaders actually met the king. We should have actually boycotted to meet him and force his government to actually denounce whatever Israel is doing. So yes, he's not a political leader, but he holds some sway in the politics of the United Kingdom. And by refusing to meet him, it should have sent a message, it could have sent a message to Britain that we are not happy. Not just as Muslims, and not just as religious people, but as human beings, as people belonging to the world, to the globe, that we condemn such acts, whether they're being done on Muslims or non-Muslims. It's not in the place to support such actions.
Very, very true. And also that is also on the front page, where we're seeing he visited one of the oldest mosques in East Africa. Now, just on the topic that I wanted us to take more time on, and these are the sentiments by our Chief Qadi Sheikh Abdul Halim Hussein Athman. He's advising Muslim couples to embrace and uphold Islamic values in order to strengthen their marriages. And this is something that I know that you would also love to speak in detail about. Let's talk about the divorce rates in the country. Let's talk about also marriages in the country. We've seen you recently attended, what was it, polygamy event?
Women in polygamy.
Yes, women in polygamy. And you're a very distinguished counselor. Let's talk about ways that people can be able to strengthen their marriages.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nadia, and I really laud the Chief Qadi for coming out and talking on this, because it's within his purview and jurisdiction that he presides over divorce matters and custody issues and all that kind of stuff. We have, through Family Resource Center, we embarked on an exercise to try and just preserve marriages. And one of the aspects that has highly been recommended that has not been taken up by the community is the premarital counseling. What is happening is that people are going into marriages without really preparing themselves. And I tell people that, you know, to even ride a bike, you have to train for it. We go to school for years to just get certain careers. The careers that we sometimes end up not even using them. We've seen doctors, we've seen engineers who have turned into business people after 6, 7 years, 10 years of practice. So they went to school for all that time, especially for their career, like medicine, you are in school for almost 8, 9 years, or up to 10 years for those who have specialized, just to practice for another 10 years, and you quit and you open a shop or you start doing other business other than in the medical field. But marriage, which is a lifelong thing, none of us cares to prepare. Even just sitting in a counseling session, a premarital counseling session, which by standard we have like 5 sessions that take almost 2.5 hours each session. So you are talking of less than 12 hours or let's say on the maximum 15 hours of training to just get to understand what is marriage, the responsibilities, the obligations, the rights, you know. We don't do that. And when you ask people, when you ask young couples or even people who've been married before and maybe they're marrying again, they don't consider it as really a big issue.
When we talk about marriage counseling, should it be something that the Chief Qadi should come out and say it's something that should be done? Or is it, if you want to, you can do it, if you don't want, it's okay as well?
Yes, we have, personally, I had appealed to the former Chief Qadi, Sheikh Mohdar, some years back, you know, maybe 6-7 years ago. He attended a function here at Jamia Mosque, and where we did recommend, I did come up with a recommendation that much as we might not force people to go through premarital counseling before marriage, but we can enforce premarital counseling through issuance of certificate. That before your marriage is registered, you have to demonstrate that you went through premarital counseling. So people can go ahead, of course, and get married in different mosques or in their homes, but then they should take time to go through premarital counseling within that short period of time before they get the marriage certificate or before the marriage is officially registered. Maybe through that we can achieve that, because there is no way we can enforce it. I'm not sure the Chief Qadi can enforce it, because yes, much as matters of personal matters lie within the jurisdiction of the Qadi's court, but you know, marriage is also controlled by the Marriage Act, which is under the Register of Marriages. So someone can really just get married and maybe even go through other means to acquire a certificate. But we are saying that we should encourage our community to go through premarital counseling, because then it helps forestall some of the challenges, some of the issues, and some of the areas of conflict.
So does that mean that premarital counseling, when a couple goes for premarital counseling, that saves them from different issues in their marriage?
Yes, definitely. Of course, what is written by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is written. If the risk in marriage is 5 years or 10 years and it's over, that is okay. But the human aspect of it is where premarital counseling comes in. And most of the marriages break because of the human aspect. It's because we do not understand what marriage is all about. We do not understand our roles and responsibilities in marriage. We do not appreciate that marriage is not a bed of roses, as they say, that it has its own challenges, but those challenges are what make marriage even more sweet, that we can arm ourselves with skills and knowledge on how to go around those conflicts, those challenges, and overcome them, and have a happy and fulfilled marriage. We do not understand even the Islamic aspect of marriage. Well, you know, the roles and responsibilities of a Muslim man, of a Muslim sister or a wife, of a parent, a father or a mother. We do not take time to invest in just understanding that, even if it's not through the formal premarital counseling, but also through other informal learning. You know, there are quite a lot of books on marriage, especially from an Islamic perspective, that we can read. There are a lot of hadith, there are a lot of ayahs in the Quran that if we specifically reflect on them, they will help us. So, but the most formal way of doing it is through premarital counseling. I know initially in our communities there used to be those aspects where the aunties would sit with the lady before she gets married, the uncles would sit with the young man before he gets married, but they're no longer there. But also they were not as professional. They were one-sided. A lady is just being told the do's and don'ts. And the man on his side is being told about the do's and don'ts, but yet they are not meeting together to discuss this, because these people are going to live together, and therefore they should have what we call a common vision and understanding, common expectations, agree on certain things, agree that there are limitations within our individual capacities, And therefore, we might not live to certain expectations of each other. However, we can agree to have a meeting point where we say, yes, you like this, I don't like this. You want to practice this, I can't practice that. But most important is I ask the couples to embrace the Islamic culture, because now that unifies all of us. Because if you come with your own tribal culture and I come with mine, then there's a clash. So people have to get something that unifies them. But most important, as you have put it, as Sheikh Abdul Halim has put it here, is we need to go through a process that can help us understand love, understand mawadda wa rahma, understand the rahma aspect of marriage, understand the companionship, the support, the caring, and like men, we've been told that we have a degree above. That's why Allah has entrusted us to be leaders. What does that mean? We have seen cases where men are now sitting back and depending on their wives. We have seen cases where I have personally been approached by Muslim brothers who tell me, I want a lady or a sister who is economically stable. So why do you need someone who is economically stable? What is your role as a husband? Yes, maybe to support each other, but mostly they want that because they want to rely on the sister to provide for them. So these are the realities, just because people don't understand what marriage is all about and what Islam says about our respective roles and responsibilities and rights within a marriage.
Very, very well put. Just before we wrap up, I'd really love for us to talk about what's currently happening in the country. And these are the ongoing floods. And I think that's on the 6th page of today's Friday Bulletin. Mr. Musa, the Asal counties are bearing the brunt on ongoing heavy rains, which is quite sad because 6 months ago, they were the same counties that were going through one of the worst droughts, in history. Unfortunately, this time it's not different. 14 people have lost their lives in the northeastern region. What do we have to say about this, especially when it points, the spotlight on the leadership of the counties?
Thank you very much. It's good, Nadia, that you brought this up. I think I've been here before discussing about issues of Asal area.
Yes.
And it's unfortunate that we all, each and every time, have to cry to government for help.
Yeah.
When you look at the amount of money the Asal counties have received since devolution started, it's in billions. They have done nothing about their own areas. It's unfortunate, and I have to say it here, that most of those leaders are the ones putting up, malls in Nairobi using taxpayers' money. They've forgotten their role to just help their community, the Muslim community, and this is public funds. So we do not put in place mechanism to address drought. Neither do we put in place mechanism to address floods. So every time there's a crisis on floods, we're suffering. Our counties and our Muslim brothers and sisters are suffer. And every time there's drought, they suffer. Yet we have a lot of resources, we have manpower, we have the technical know-how to do just the bare minimum, like have dams, that where we can preserve water, move people or encourage people to settle on higher grounds, even when there's no drought at all. Change, slightly integrate our lifestyle, agriculture and pastoralism, using the available resources, so that our people don't continue suffering hunger and suffering when it's drought, suffering flooding, when there are heavy rains. So I want to, yes, of course, blame the government partly because of not putting in place measures to forestall such calamities, but I also maybe 80% blame our leadership, our community members, our Muslim leaders, especially political leaders in those respective areas, because a governor has been given money. The MPs, they have funds, you know, the CDF. Even if you just allocate 25% or 20% of what you get annually to mitigating drought, to mitigating flooding issues, and you are 10 or you are 7 MPs in a given county, you know, if you are each putting aside, even if it's just 10 million shillings annually, that's 100 million shillings for 10 of you. And then the county also contributes something. And then the national government and the well-wishers, you know, they can contribute something. We can come up with a huge fund to do that.
We're seeing nearly 2,500 families have already been displaced, and the meteorological department is telling, you know, those counties, like, it's still going to get worse, the rains are going to continue. What do we have? Like, there have been situations, and before, even when we were being given the El Nino warnings, people were told, if you're in drought-prone, if you're in flood-prone areas, move to higher grounds. And we're seeing, unfortunately, people risking their lives and people even losing their lives, which is very, very sad, don't you think?
Yeah, it's as we say, it's quite unfortunate, and we have no one to blame but us. And by the way, Allah has promised us that He cannot solve a plight of a people until they start addressing it by themselves. So we cannot sit back and just continue crying for, yet we are not doing anything as a community. So the onus is on the leadership, and we have the technical expertise to do that. If they think they need support, they can call for support, and the Muslims will come up with the mechanism to really help them, so that they don't continue. We don't want to look every now and then we just are the ones crying to government, crying to the international community. This is happening year in, year out, yet we know that this is going to happen. Honestly, I think we have ourselves to blame.
Yes. Any final remarks before we wrap up the show?
Well, really want to thank you guys, and specifically, of course, Jamia Mosque for the Friday Bulletin, and for trying to bring information to the Muslims, or to the Ummah in general. This is very good, and we should continue. Viewers, please read the Friday Bulletin. Don't take it and keep it in your bags or just in your houses. There's plenty of information on quite a number of issues, both conventional and religious matters, inshallah. So I encourage people to read the Friday Bulletin.
Thank you so much, Mr. Musa, for always joining us in studio and also sharing your insights as well. And now, just to finish up, tomorrow there's going to be an open day at Jamia Mosque. So this is an opportunity for people from different faiths to come and visit the mosque, have a tour. Any questions they have about Islam, tomorrow is the day where you can have them all answered at Jamia Mosque, Nairobi. So we're inviting anyone and everybody to come to Jamia Mosque tomorrow, inshallah, and be able to, you know, have their questions answered on Islam. I think that brings us to the end of today's show. Thank you so much, Mr. Musa Mwale, for joining me in studio. And that, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to our viewers for staying with us here on Horizon TV. Until next Friday, ma'as-salam.
Horizon TV, kurunzi ya taifa.